Hello, my name is Jack Chester, and today I'll be presenting to you about the oil industry in California. So, why California began drilling? In the 19th century, many Californians were in search of new ways to make money, with most people entering lines of work surrounded by gold, agriculture, forestry, and fishing. By the late 19th century, things had changed. There was an abundance of cheap labor workers in California working in these economies that looked elsewhere to find things that really could bring them in lots of money. One of the main things they discovered was oil, sitting right beneath their feet and becoming ever so easy to see through earthquake fault lines and seepage areas. Californians immediately started drilling. I also just want to say I'm really interested in the topic because obviously I live in Texas, which is a very large state, and there's a ton of drilling going on currently. And I've had a lot of friends that dads do or work in fracking, and also my grandfather, he was a underwater welder on ocean oil rigs, which we'll get to later. So these are two images I have of some of the first oil. They're called derricks in California. So this is a derrick. This is the very first one ever. This is actually the first place where Edward L. Doheny first struck oil in California. You might recognize that name because of Doheny Beach in San Diego. So this is the very first time they struck oil. And then the crazy thing, this is actually Venice Beach on the right in the 1930s. These derricks weren't capped until the late 1970s. So yeah, it's pretty crazy now. It's like just a beach. So now I'll be talking about the oil boom in California. This quickly became the largest part of California's economy, where most of the workforce wanted a piece of the action. Many people struggling during this leased their land for drilling and were bailed out by these early oil companies. Oil companies quickly resolved many people's debts and seemed as one of the greatest things to happen in California since the gold rush. Today, LA and the entire surrounding area would not be what it is today if it weren't for consistent and the consistent amount of oil flowing through the derricks. And this time, there was honestly a ridiculous amount of oil really just sitting underneath these people's feet, and they didn't realize it until later. And they're not, even today they're still pumping it out. So one of the only downsides of this is the carbon footprint. Despite all the good that comes that may come from the oil boom in California, it also had trade-offs. In 1938, a British steam engineer named Guy Callender theorized that the carbon dioxide emissions of the industrial age were raising the temperature of the planet. Even at such an early time, when technology was not as advanced as it is now, scientists could still understand the effect of oil drilling, and the burning off of oil on the earth. The growth of this industry has only accelerated California's carbon footprint over the last century. And this is just a kind of a map of the carbon footprint, and you can see this is the Bay Area, a lot of drilling going on over there, also a lot of people driving. And then kind of towards, you got LA right in here, San Diego. You can just tell, like, there's definitely spots where the larger cities is where the carbon footprint is much larger. Okay, next slide. Yeah, just want to show these pictures. This is a really cool picture. This is a Huntington Beach ocean oil rig today. Now I think they're trying to kind of keep the oil rigs off the beaches and allow people to be on the beaches more. So they've started going out into the ocean where I guess derricks are a lot harder to make. So yeah, oil in California today. Although at first glance of the California gas prices, you would never think even that today California is one of the leading states for producing oil. Despite all of the warning signs, it seems as if there is no end in sight because of the $111 billion of revenue that it brings in annually for California's economy. California's oil output today is second to only South Dakota and Texas in amount of oil drilled per year. This is actually crazy because honestly, you just never think that. Coming out to California, I would never think that. We still do not know what will happen with the damages caused by this industry, but I believe we will find out sooner than everyone thinks. And that's it. I'm just go back to this picture. This is a diagram of a derrick. A derrick is it is a machine that helps basically funnel the oil that's coming out of the ground after it's been drilled into barrels and places for them to store it. And then I'll go back to this image. I just think that's so cool. That's Venice Beach. And then Edward L. Doheny's first derrick, you can tell that was pretty rickety, and in not having that much time, it was probably 60 years, they went to this. Pretty crazy transformation. Thank you.